The public participant is an individual's or grouping right to take part in governance decision-making process. Those who living in a community should get involved in any development planning in the future. The practice of involving public in planning has been in place since the birth of modern town in planning in Malaysia.
Next case study. For example, in MBPJ, the present local authority need to stay committed to the policies and decision made by the previous local authority and the state government, and at the same time facing the pressure in meeting the demands of development and local residents.
Next, in Wuhan, as the main social media platform in China, Sina Weibo, has become increasingly important for the public to spread epidemic disease since the outbreak of the novel coronavirus. It is an interesting and urgent issue to study the extent to which the public is concerned about the COVID-19 pandemic on Weibo, to promote communication between the government and the public through risk communication and community participation. For objective, first, to create awareness and educate the public on environmental issue or a proposed action. Second, to identify roles and responsibilities of various stakeholders. Third, to receive feedback from the public on the environmental issue. Fourth, to enhance understanding and ownership of the public. And for the last, to create an informed citizenry. For the successful participant process, first, efficient administration. Second, effective approach. Third, fair decision making. For the last, sufficient information. One of the criteria for successful public participant is effective approach. For example, such an interview participant indicated that they go beyond the minimum requirement in Planning Act and provide extra consultation for public. These sessions are informative and are aimed to help people understand the issue better. In addition, they help to target a right people, special interest group to the official meeting. The exchange of information is another important element of successful involvement of the citizen based on TCRP 2012.
I would like to continue on how the implementation of public participation. It provides an overview of the principal legal instruments, mechanisms, and guidelines, as well as an analysis of provincial and local practices. So going next for the objective, which is the goal of public participation are to improve the quality of the plan and project, to improve the implementation by avoiding costly legislation and delays, and to meet legal requirements. As for the limitation, the public participation helps identify public concern and preferences and addressing them during the decision making through techniques such as public meetings and hearing, advisory committees, interactive workshop, interviews, questionnaire, focus group, and other methods. The next one is the challenges of the public participation. The first one that can be identified is the costly, and the next one is the lack of the skilled facilitators, and the next one is the low efficiency, and the last one is not interested in taking part. As for the problem statement, which is the urbanization challenge, so economic growth and demographic shift are widely regarded as the driving force behind urbanization. The next one could be the environment protection. So the pollution, excessive water, ground use, and waste has worsened the environmental situation and resulted in water shortages. And the next one is the public awareness. Shared decision making involves that interested parties not only participate actively in the planning process but also take responsibility for the outcome.
I'm going to explain about relevance of public participation implementation in case study. Public participation implementation in Wuhan, China. During the early stages of the COVID-19 outbreak in Wuhan, the city's lockdown generated panic and disruptive conduct among the city's residents. Obviously, that everyone using social media during the pandemic COVID-19 and local government of Wuhan using the same method to make the citizen involved in public participation. Wuhan local government used the official social media for citizen engagement during the COVID-19 crisis. So the first implementation is dialogue loop and citizen engagement on social media. The second one is media richness and information influencing factor. Next, information influencing factor potentially affect public engagement. And the last one is period time of government posting play a role to make engagement among community. For the implementation details, the first one is dialogue loop and citizen management engaged on social media. Means that the dialogue could be integrated into regular public relations procedures, resulting in beneficial consequences such as trust, mutuality, and empathy. For the second one is media richness and information influencing factors. Okay, this study of media richness theory focuses on communicators' channels preference such as Google Meet meeting, Zoom, WebEx, and else. The third one is information influencing factor potentially affect public engagement. And this is meaning by reading in the social media become a habit for the community, thus they may have a positive impact on user involvement. And the last one is period time of government posting play a role to make engagement among citizens, which means by longer posts make a lot of people reading of the post and engagement occurs. We move to the Malaysian context. Public participation's implementations in Petaling, Jaya, Malaysia. Public participation is becoming more popular in local governance practice, as public participation in the decision-making process is critical to fostering good governance concept. During spreading of COVID-19, all of public participations not using physical or face-to-face engagement. From that, online engagement increasingly used. So, Petaling Jaya City Council used participations in e-government surveys to engage with citizens. The first implementation is public administration and management discipline. Next one is deeper engagement. The third one is belonging in participation. And the last one, the ignore role and trust of user or citizens. We move to the implementation details of Malaysian context. Public administration and management discipline. The fundamental focus of user engagement, according to this viewpoint, is the impact on decision making in the design and implementation process. The second one is belonging and participation. This research focused on websites related to the e-service and offering for the community to present a sense of belonging. This type of approach ensures that all citizens use technology to interact with the government. The third one, deeper engagement. There are some circumstances in which public participation could be both costly and ineffective for both the government and the citizens. As a result, all involvement events must be carefully monitored. Last one is the ignore role and trust of user or citizen. Citizen participation in meeting is primarily indirect and through representative, as citizens are not permitted to attend or vote at decision-making meetings. We move to the discussion or comment by us. Public participation currently still ongoing, especially for the government or non-government NGOs, for the purpose of decision-making. Although the pandemic COVID-19 became a problem to do public engagement in physical, all of the private agencies and government using media, social or technology to complete the public participation, and this is most effective way to implement public participation during current situation which prevent us from doing physical activities.
Next is the impact of COVID-19 in public participation. For the issue which is platform, the e-government and social media could be the best platform to encourage public participation in the decision-making process. The solution for the issue which is selecting the right online tools. Various online engagement methods allow for diverse audience engagement. For the next issue which is social distancing, the pandemic has limited the interaction between the public and local authority in order to ensure that their concerns are taken into account throughout the decision-making process. So the solution for the issue which is consultation. Consultation is a type of participation in which the government invites providing the form of the public to share their thoughts, comments and opinions and feedback on a particular document. In a nutshell, public participation have become more common in the decision-making process, especially in local government practices that allow citizens to be involved in the formulation of plan. The approach of public participation in Petaling Jaya, which focusing on e-government service, in response to the public participation of citizens as an alternative for users to communicate online rather than to be physical. Although there are some challenges in facing the participation in the public decision-making process, which is the quality of the service provider observed to be at the infancy stage. The suggestion of participating citizens in other platforms such as social media, e-payment kiosk machines, and email will be better increase the public participation. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the information convey is more inclined towards social media, which can be communicated to many communities more effectively. The government in Wuhan is doing in conveying information through Weibo to engage with the public. It is very stable in getting the feedback from the public and conveying information from the government. Even so, there are limitations because of the heavy censorship, which decrease the engagement of motivation of the citizen. However, the network nature of social media make it impossible to make an overall control. Public participation is seen as an effective way to encourage public participation, especially online, which can facilitate the delivery of information, getting feedback and saving time.